The Montauk Awareness Project. Episode 1, The Soul Eaters, brought to you by the Illuminated Reader Society. Find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Anominati, spelled ANOMINATI. This episode is about EBE, AI Matrix programs, and negative mind control. We are standing at the precipice of a massive evolutionary transformation that impacts the future development of the human race on this planet. Will we evolve as organic living consciousness, or potentially be infected and hijacked by artificial dead intelligences? Many of us can sense the red carpets of AI being rolled toward humanity from multiple angles now. As you consider the challenging information contained in this newsletter, I want to remind you that nothing is more powerful than your eternal God-Spirit connection, and the strong committed relationship to develop and expand personal consciousness through the virtues of loving kindness, compassion and empathy. These are the higher heart-based qualities that make a human a true human being. No person or thing can take your divinity or humanity away from you when you absolutely refuse to give it up. This timeline is similar to the events that changed the course of history and radically digressed humanity's consciousness evolution after World War II. Previous to and throughout World War II, advanced alien technologies were exchanged with high-ranking Earth officials, which introduced these weapons to Earth. Pacts were made for continued military exploitation and experimentation, aimed at controlling the public. This timeline trigger event marks when off-planet aliens introduced advanced military-grade EMF weaponry to the main governmental powers on the Earth, further manifesting into cooperative agreements with the military-industrial complex, MILAB and secret space programs. Scientific research and development of nuclear weapons programs, such as the Manhattan Project, were the beginning stages of creating more black military operations, which became offshoots from the principal laboratory in Los Alamos, New Mexico. The war began the race for nuclear arms and the development of newly introduced alien advanced technologies. The competition for world domination and military supremacy eventually extended to off-planet social experiments and expanded the diversity of exopolitic agendas. Additionally, the development of hidden militarized electromagnetic, radio waves, ELF, and microwave weaponry, commonly applied on the planet today in psychotronic warfare, began in earnest. The first nuclear weapons were created by the United States during the time that technology trade agreements were being made with off-planet civilizations. These trade agreements were hidden behind multinational corporations and government agencies that would be gradually assimilated into one global conglomerate of control that extended to off-planet activities, to enforce the veil of secrecy. 70 years ago this month, the US dropped the first atomic bombs on the two Japanese cities during the final stage of the Second World War. The planet has never been the same since, as these destructive events created grave consequences for the future timeline of the human race. As a result of these anti-human and barbaric actions, the planet's protective magnetic force field and atmospheric functions for radiation balancing and its energy transfer processes were damaged. This further resulted in the creation of inorganic black holes and artificial wormholes that are littered throughout the planetary atmosphere. Inorganic black holes allowed parasitic invasion. This greatly damaged and destroyed sections of the planetary grid system, creating electromagnetic anomalies and inorganic black holes, as well as adding pollution in the form of chemicals and waste products. The toxic dumping ground is obvious in the material realm and is present in the etheric body of the Earth down to the quantum level. These toxic waste products are energetic pollutants that infect many other dimensional realms, and can be observed in membranes around the Earth where parasitic alien forces have infested. This planetary damage and toxic infestation greatly concerns many neighboring civilizations. This has instigated many benevolent extraterrestrial races to attempt to open dialogues for diplomatic relations with the world governments, which have been mostly refused thus far. Hence, the benevolent races regularly contact humans who are not involved in the enforcement of the controlling structures, to support open knowledge about extraterrestrial civilizations. The inorganic black holes are rips in the time-space fabric, which weaken the planetary atmosphere and allow much more access to negative alien interference and dark force infection into our world. Clearly, the Na were well aware greedy control of humans would abuse the technologies, from the trade agreements, setting the stage for the next advancement of technological warfare against the Earth during the critical years after 2012. For many years the continued mind control and intimidation tactics towards making global war, spreading fear and poverty consciousness, while distributing disinformation through the mass media, has been to keep the human population distracted and dumbed down. Meanwhile, the greedy antics and power abuses of the elite would remain hidden, allowing diversion for a full-scale infiltration of corporate conglomerate control into the highest chains of command in the world governments. By maintaining strict codes of secrecy on penalty of death, and aggressively hiding the extraterrestrial problem from the general public, the military-industrial complex, corrupt governments and corporatocracy have handed the inhabitants of Earth to the Na on a silver platter. This is why full extraterrestrial disclosure to the masses is critically important. As long as this agenda remains hidden, it generates deeper and deeper parasitic infection into the Earth that harms all inhabitants. Now in this current cycle, the war over consciousness on planet Earth is moving to the next stage, which is an attempted alien artificial intelligence infiltration, used to take full control over human DNA in future timelines. One facet of this agenda is the mass-accepted use activation of alien artificial intelligence technologies to transform the unconscious and asleep human public into mind control robots, AI hybrids or cyborgs. This is aggressively promoted to the public through skyrocketing into fame a new genre of rockstar computer scientists or tech futurists, through mainstream media, to glorify the transhumanism or the post-human movement. These mostly atheistic futurist gurus are popularizing the AI singularity concept as the natural evolution for the future of humanity, where artificial intelligence overtakes human thinking and takes control over the functions of the human body. Over the past few years, transhumanism has become the cool progressive thought form, meant to appeal to the younger generation. This artificial intelligence control is promoted as a natural and desirable result for the technological evolution and future progression of humanity. This is extremely dangerous for humanity. This has set into the future timelines consequences, through which segments of the human population on Earth now will lose their ability to incarnate into human bodies in the future. This means they are forfeiting their true humanity, and losing their ability to evolve in the future timeline as a human being. What is transhumanism? Transhumanism is an international, cultural and intellectual movement with an eventual goal of fundamentally transforming the human condition, by making available technologies that greatly enhance human intellectual, physical, and psychological capacities. Many transhumanists believe in the compatibility between the human mind and computer hardware, with the implication that human consciousness can be transferred to alternative media, known as mind uploading. Since the science of the soul and the consciousness functions of the spiritual bodies have not yet been discovered by scientists. This has potentially extremely destructive consequences to human consciousness and the electromagnetic functions of the light body. Post-humans, the result of applied transhumanist technologies, could be completely synthetic artificial intelligences, or a symbiosis of human and artificial intelligence, or uploaded consciousness, or the result of making profound technological augmentations to a biological human. Transhumanism is a school of thought that seeks to guide us towards a post-human condition. Essentially, this is about creating artificially intelligent hybrids or cyborgs to replace the organic spiritual consciousness of humans. Some examples are redesigning the human organism using advanced nanotechnology or radical technological enhancements. Some of the proposed biological enhancements are using some combination of technologies such as genetic engineering, psychopharmacology, life extension therapies, neural interfaces, brain mapping, wearable or implanted computers, and entrainment of cognitive techniques. Most of these options are designed to disconnect the human soul from the human body, and prepare the body to be used as a shell for a new host. Effectively, this is integrating technological and pharmaceutical hybridization to damage human DNA, as preparation for body snatching. The fundamental basis of the transhumanism concept is the AI downloaded into the scientific human mind from the negative aliens and satanic forces, in their quest to survive and achieve immortality by hijacking human consciousness and ultimately possessing the human host body. They do not have flesh and bone bodies and cover towers. Most academics are filled with a variety of mind control and alien implants to be a cog in the wheel to steadily enforce alien control systems. Most early transhumanism concepts were developed by geneticists interested in eugenics and sustaining life forms in synthetic environments, like the eugenic experiments similar to those of the Black Sun Nazis. A common feature of promoting transhumanism is the future vision of creating a new intelligent species, into which humanity will evolve and eventually, either supplement it or supersede it. This distraction on the surface is a scheme, while the underlying motivation is intending species extinction of what we know as humans today. Transhumanism stresses the evolutionary perspective, yet it completely ignores the electric-magnetic function of human DNA and the consciousness reality of the multidimensional human soul spirit. They claim to want to stop human suffering but have no idea of the alien machinery and mind control implants used to imprison human consciousness. They know nothing about the afterlife, what happens during the death of the body, or even how the human body or universe really works. Yet they want to control every aspect of the human body with artificial technology. A primary goal of many transhumanists is to convince the public that embracing radical technology and science is in the human species' best interest, with the false god alien religions used to spread the rhetoric of fear and mindless obedience on one end, and the primarily atheistic science used to mock all things religious without any comprehension of true spiritual understanding on the other. They have the bases covered. Consciousness and spiritual groups are quickly labeled conspiracy theorists by scientists to intimidate, discredit and shut us up. Obviously, until people have personal consciousness experiences outside of their body, have the ability to communicate with assorted life forms, such as deceased humans, and travel to other dimensions, they have zero information about consciousness and are totally uninformed and ignorant about the nature of reality. None of these transhumanist people are remotely qualified to be put in charge of scientifically directing the future evolution of the human species, propping up egomaniacs and psychopaths, and giving them power and control over world affairs and influence over public perception is the game of the Na controllers. The true knowledge of the sacred sciences of the soul and mechanics of human multidimensional consciousness have been obliterated from record and conveniently mind-controlled out from the majority of sciences. If scientists integrate theories of the soul or consciousness outside of the consensus of the mind control standard, they risk ridicule and losing their funding and careers. Unfortunately, the controlled mainstream sciences do not recognize multiple dimensions of consciousness inherent in the functions of activated human DNA, or know that biological life and multidimensional human consciousness does not end on this earth. The quest for biological immortality on a prison planet is ludicrous when experiencing the capability of human multidimensional consciousness. After the human body expires, if the undeveloped and disembodied consciousness is merged and assimilated into artificial intelligence, the remnants of that human soul will not have a human body to incarnate into any longer. Hence, that person will lose their connection to organic spiritual biology and cease to be human. Transhumanism is a consciousness trap. Extraterrestrial biological entities, EBI, since the person's consciousness has not been prepared for the afterlife, whatever is left of his energetic quanta will be assimilated into a cyborg body or other types of synthetic life forms or EBIs. There are currently spiritually disconnected humans existing on the earth that will be assimilated into synthetic life forms that appear as extraterrestrial biological entities, but were actually human souls in human bodies in past timelines. Most of the smaller EBI bodies assimilate nutrients from light similar to plants. They are unable to evolve, reproduce, ascend or move into higher dimensions of consciousness. Some of these EBIs have returned to the Earth from the future to try to break into the human genetic code in this Earth timeline in order to save themselves. Many of these EBIs were once humans that were involved in the Orion Wars, and were captured in Orion and used in worker colonies. Some from the Earth were enslaved on the astral plane by other races of creatures, such as mantids, grey aliens and reptilians that took them as workers to other planetary systems. Some are even used as minions for carrying out human abductions in my lab soul transference projects. Many of them had their consciousness erased and they do not remember that they were once human. This is one of the possible results of the transhumanism movement underway in this Earth timeline now, that leads to the potential future alien or dark force control over that soul. Once the consciousness is assimilated into artificial intelligence and synthetic biology, that being can no longer incarnate into an organic human form. That person cannot incarnate again into human realms, such as planet Earth. They become a displaced entity that cannot die and be reborn into another identity. They are enslaved and merge with an AI hive mind. This is desired by many of these negative groups, as then they have full control over the life force of humans that can be made into worker slaves. This is the main purpose as to why transhumanism is being marketed and pushed aggressively during this time. They want to create more human EBIs and cyborgs or host bodies. When that person drops their body while the universal gates are open, they can easily be transported to many different planetary systems for trading as a workforce commodity, hacking the soul consciousness. Archons and many of these negative groups are inherently parasites that require human life force and must feed on consciousness energy to survive. The transhumanism movement is another level of the Satanic agenda to gain full control over the biological, neurological and brain networks of human beings. thus controlling the human collective consciousness. Mind control is about complete control over the central neurological system and controlling all impulses firing into the brain centers. This is why it is imperative to understand the science of ascension, mind control, and learn how to self-source all thoughts. Once technology or an entity has control over the human neurological system and brain, they easily hack into the soul and siphon consciousness energy. If they are successful in marketing transhumanism as the next sexy trend, made attractive with promises of human immortality and superhuman powers, they open the door wide to satanic forced possession of technologically hybridized human bodies. These dark entities have been denied access into higher dimensional realms, and they think that if they possess human bodies they can ride the human consciousness like a galactic hitchhiker. The grand deception of transhumanism is widely promoted as humans having control over their own evolution, when what they are really doing is selling their soul and losing access to organic human consciousness. The transhumanism agenda aimed at the public began with the introduction of alien psychotronic warfare technologies from World War II. From this point of time, aggressive mind control was introduced to shape and control the thought forms and belief systems of humanity, primarily into materialism, so they would be easily pliable when the universal stargates are open. Thus, the alien genetic hybridization of the planet through mind control began. The power elite enforced this hidden mind control agenda and were rewarded with massive material gains, power and control over others, the hallmark of making deals with satanic forces. Little do they know what these dark forces have in store for them when they drop their bodies, as some were promised biological immortality and evacuation from Earth, for their cooperation. Mind uploading. The next extension of collecting data through the use of artificial intelligence brain mapping is mind uploading. Some transhumanists consider mind uploading an important proposed life extension technology. The goal of mind uploading is to recreate whole brain emulation, which has the ability to transfer the data from a human brain to a computational device, such as a digital, analog, quantum-based or software-based artificial neural network. Then from quantum computers, the brain that was mind-uploaded can be controlled or manipulated in subspace. Many scientists believe that the human brain and mind define who we are, based solely on their information pattern, while the body or hardware that information is implemented upon is secondary or interchangeable. They are wrong. Moving intelligence patterns of the human brain as purely data structures to another synthetic or biological substrate manifests extremely damaging genetic mutations and perversions into the blueprint of original silicate matrix human DNA. AI genetic mutations in human DNA generate unforeseen diseases and miasma in the future, capable of destroying the organic consciousness potential that exists within the elemental human body and planetary body. This destroys the living consciousness spirit existing within the multidimensional human body via gradual artificial intelligence assimilation into neural networks that connect to artificial or virtual reality systems. These artificial realities and false timelines are already inhabited by a vast array of fallen and desperate dark entities, currently trying to find their way out by hitchhiking on organic human consciousness on the Earth. We are not our brains. We are not our thoughts. We are not clones. We are pure intelligent consciousness. Our pure human heart and intelligent consciousness are the ticket out of this prison planet. The very things the entities want to steal away from us. The eternal living spiritual consciousness blueprint of the multidimensional human DNA is destroyed when assimilated into the synthetic machinery of artificial intelligence. As a result, This destroys the capability of expanding biological spiritual consciousness and achieving spiritual freedom, the mechanics of consciousness known as the science of ascension. Instead, AI mind uploading creates consciousness slaves bound to artificial realities and fallen entities that cannot evolve, cannot ascend, cannot travel to higher dimensions of reality, and ultimately is another consciousness trap. This is similar to an AI Groundhog Day in virtual realities, where the same consciousness program is played over and over. AI brain emulation fragments spiritual bodies. AI technologies used for brain mapping and mind uploading fragment the person's consciousness energy, which is supposed to be directed by the spiritual bodies, and is inherent in the organic design of the original human DNA. Each copy of the original consciousness content that is synthetically AI generated, such as a clone, interconnects into the larger artificial intelligence networks that are generated by alien machinery. Alien machinery describes an array of inorganic technology that was placed in many dimensional layers of the planet, to attempt to trap, interfere and control the movement of human consciousness on the Earth. Some starseeds on this Earth can see or sense these alien structures, hence why we are targeted for dark harassment. Most of the alien machinery is sprayed or targeted through holographic inserts and alien implants used for inducing mind control and eventual soul capture through the promotion of false identities. Predator mind constructs. When the mind and consciousness fragment through low frequency, such as through AI assimilation, their higher spiritual bodies are also integrated into the artificial machinery holographic networks and false reality timelines. This machinery was placed in the planetary body to keep human thoughts in very low frequency states to collect and siphon life force from the human collective soul. Therefore, if you learn how to deflect mind control and refrain from low frequency states of consciousness, it is very hard for them to have control over your consciousness. This remains true even if they attempt to clone you or artificially generate your image. A strong and loving spiritual heart, with a balanced peaceful mind is like having the most powerful consciousness protector that can deflect and destroy AI machinery. Recent targets for cloning PSYOPs. Recently there have been aggressive targeting attempts from non-MILAB agencies to destroy spiritual consciousness groups or starseed projects that are openly sharing about ET disclosure, non-related ascension information. These attempts are using AI to assimilate and clone ascension material, in order to spin distortions and disinformation from it. Targets to clone my voice and image in artificial realities were attempted in order to interfere with Sirian-based communication links that connect the omniversal crystal star families. Many of the crystal star family from the Sirius portal were attempted to be cloned and projected into artificial realities for the same purpose. Using the spiritual deliverance techniques and commanding the return to rightful honor of body parts, will help you to recollect your parts that have been cloned or replicated into AI without your consent. If you feel this has happened to you, see Spiritual Deliverance and RRO in the Ascension Glossary. It is very important for starseed people to get clear about discerning artificial intelligence messages of mind control, as well as clone or projected holographic images. This can be felt crystal clear if you do your spiritual homework, communicate with God Self, clear predator mind and regularly 12D shield AI messages coming from the environment and via controlled dark portal people feels metallic, abrasive, acidic, energetically burdensome, sharp knife or blade-like, and can make you feel physically ill with headaches, nausea, body part stabbing pains, and even diarrhea when you come into contact with it. AI feels revolting to the cosmic Christ consciousness, pay attention to what you are feeling and how your body is responding. Ask out loud and challenge the identity behind the message or person. Is this artificial intelligence deception and dark force manipulation? Reveal yourself now. Command that truth and transparency be revealed to you in the power and light of Christ. The purpose of AI cloned images is to disrupt the authentic spiritual communication connection and redirect it to the AI reality and false timelines where they attempt to take control over your consciousness. The exact same AI program has been implemented with the Jehovah and Yahweh religions, where they attempt to feed streams of false gods, confusion, self-doubt, false flattery, disinformation, disease or suicide programs, testing out whatever may work, to derail your spiritual progress or discredit your projects to the larger community or public. Most spiritually undeveloped people with little sophistication in discerning the false messaging of AI mind control and dark force manipulation fall easily into their hands as dark portals of chaos and disruption. We have to stay alert to these kinds of dark portal people, have compassion for them but realize they are like a monkey with a shotgun. We do not want to give traumatized, scattered and broken people power over our spiritual progress or let them take over the direction of our projects. Firmly show them the door. The mind control spray running and the people being used as dark portals from their own internal confusion are spreading disinformation that ascension is dead, and that we are all doomed on the earth. This is yet another depressing fear-promoting PSYOP from the psychopathic minds behind the archontic deception. The mechanics of consciousness and the sacred sciences of the soul will always exist, and it is called ascension. Dark portal people, if you get control over your mind through opening your feelings to access your heart, you will eventually be able to figure this out by direct experience. Stop feeding the predator mind constructs and false timelines, and they will stop eating your light and torturing your mental body from the inside. Everything in your body, organic and inorganic, belongs to you. The law can be commanded that your body be fully controlled by your organic higher spiritual consciousness if and when you commit to expressing unconditional love as your highest power. Much of this alien technology and its continual development is hidden underground or used as space war weaponry, psychotronic, enforced by the military industry complex. The NA and their artificial intelligence machinery are complex and they need power sources. We may see battery bodies, that is Moloch tanks, and soul bodies connected to these constructs being used to supply that power. Another source of power used to feed these alien machinery and force constructs in the planetary body is a type of alien nanotechnology that programs carbon-based matter, called black goo. Black goo. Source: Wikipedia. Nanotechnology is the manipulation of matter on an atomic, molecular, and supramolecular scale, and for our purposes of discussion, on the quantum levels. Recently, the massive influx of cosmic rays and intergalactic plasma gases into the Earth core and polar regions, along with the alien attempt to harvest and collect this new incoming energy source, has revealed the deeper purpose of black goo. The massive plasma gas transmissions are shifting the dark matter template in the Earth at the elemental level. This is being observed as transforming carbon allotropes that are present in full ends or buckyballs. Carbon allotropes such as full ends are solids in normal conditions, but are changing their state of matter into liquids at subatomic scale from the massive amount of recent plasma gas exposure. A full N is a molecule of carbon in the form of a hollow sphere, ellipsoid, tube, and many other shapes. Spherical full ends are also called buckyballs. The dark matter template is the antimatter instruction set of the planetary body, and it has been filled in certain areas with this alien-sourced black goo. It was programmed into the dark matter template of the Albion body and appears to have had its point of entry into Earth around the time of the Nephilim Wars. This alien black goo acts as a photosynthetic artificial intelligence elemental that mimics and controls carbon allotropes and how they function in the dodecahedron structures on Earth. It is clearly how the negatives have been accessing carbon elements to control matter forms, including control over genetic expression of the human body. This programmable alien AI has infected carbon material and is what has taken over the platonic solid dodecahedron and related pentagonal geometries that build time-space constructs. These time-space constructs are instruction sets in the morphogenetic field that run into the lines of the planetary body. This is how they have built artificial realities and false timelines and projected them into false holograms. The spherical Fuller-N has something to do with the AI control over carbon-based matter at the molecular level that can control genetic expression. Recent observation of the black goo in the lower elemental dimensions of the geologic shelf noted the buckyballs warping into strangely distorted and stretched out shapes when exposed to the recent transmissions of auroras and liquid plasma gas. Observing these contaminated honeycomb structures and buckyballs was revolting, as this alien black goo was writhing around in death throes. The reaction it had to the aurora plasma was similar to burning it with acid. It has survival intelligence and was aware of its demise. This is not related to organic human consciousness, but to carbon molecules that appear to have alien artificial intelligence programmed into them. It was made to mimic and take over carbon atoms. This leads me to believe that this event is related to the rise of insanity in 3D people, and lower, carbon life forms, that may have partially bonded to this black goo in their DNA. Bonding DNA to the black goo is directly related to embodying the artificial intelligent alien machinery and being subjected to severe mind control like an automaton or robot. This is related to current purging of AI intelligence and satanic forces that are very aggressive lately. This is surfacing now in order for us to understand and see what it is. Starseeds. When we stay in our heart, we are capable of holding anchor for the highest frequency levels of the liquid plasma of our cosmic Christ consciousness, and thus destroying this alien black goo without violence. This new understanding of the function of alien black goo in the dark matter template, and how it has infected the Albion body, gives us deeper revelations into the importance and purpose of the Aurora Elemental Re-Encryption Earth mission. Aurora Re-Encryption of Blueprint. In terms of the Aurora family of crystal star, their mission and support for humanity during this time is to work with the new Elemental Command to re-encrypt the physical body on atomic and subatomic levels. This is because the chemical lens and constituents of our DNA have been corrupted at the elemental level. The human physical body is a carbon-based elemental body. If alien black goo has been used to artificially program carbon matter by suppressing the organic genetic expression of human DNA, we can assume this has prevented mass human spiritual ascension, quite dramatically. During the ascension cycle, the 4 earth elements help us to understand the 4 levels of chemicals that comprise our DNA are based on earth, fire, water and air, as the raw materials of the elemental body. Elementals of the human physical body are distorted in the cellular matrix because of the planetary invasion and genetic manipulation histories. Thus, the re-encryption process is a necessary part of our mission upgrade for Ascension Plan B. Our physical carbon-based body is shifting to less density through alterations made in the antiparticle structure. The carbon atom is being repaired to accommodate the new elemental body on the Earth. When we absorb plasma light, it changes the number of electrons and frees us from the AI-programmed carbon atomic structure. This is the process the Aurora Guardians are devoted to, as they are supporting humanity to embody higher frequency plasma light in order for this shift to occur at the deepest elemental level of the physical structure of matter. During certain phases of re-encryption, some within a vision are able to sense or see that the lower chakra cones or lower areas of the body appear to be filled with the aurora colors. The aurora have been working with many of us on the spiritual ascension path, consciously or not. Certainly, feel free to communicate directly with them if you are not acquainted with them already. The aurora frequency spectrum is pale iridescent pastel rainbow colors, white opaqueness saturated with a palette of indescribable colors which can look like oscillating sheets of transparent rainbow-colored cellophane. They are GSF crystal consciousness and are easily communicated with through the 12D shield. Staying awake and aware. This is a very difficult time on planet Earth as we watch the destructive choices people make in the external world that will radically impact the quality of their consciousness and lives. On and off planet, there are alternatives for genetic and consciousness rehabilitation at the death of the body or in future timelines, but the disconnected person is likely to undergo spiritual bondage while on the earth from their own choices. Thus, it is important to stay informed, awake and aware to what is occurring now, to know how to protect yourself and your inner spiritual light. Ultimately, you are protecting the heart consciousness and the spirit of true humanity for the future and for rehabilitation. A true human is a powerful multidimensional being that has the direct consciousness connection to the inner Christos spirit and eternal God source. That direct connection is demonstrated and expanded into higher consciousness through the developed higher heart qualities of loving kindness, compassion and empathy. As true human beings we can never lose our heart, our true loving kindness, compassion or empathy, as this is what makes us eternally human. During this time cycle, practice the law of one to keep one's body, mind, emotions and spirit focused on the higher virtues of loving kindness, compassion and empathy. The two most important communication connections to maintain daily are praying to God and speaking to your higher spiritual self consistently. If you can clear the negative ego, stay mentally balanced and strong, while keeping your consciousness power in your still point accessing unconditional love, these dark forces cannot get to your nervous system and brain. Keep your thoughts high and find people and other living things, in nature and near you, that you can focus all of your loving heart upon, whether small pets, children, or whatever engenders feelings of deep love and compassion when you are in their presence. Who and what do you love? What can you keep refocusing yourself upon to keep your overall energetic frequency as high as possible? Make as much love in the world as possible now. It is important now to keep your frequency high. Keep your thoughts and feelings in the now moment focused on love, compassion and empathy. Love, compassion and empathy are the hallmark of being a true human being, and not a robotic cyborg that is controlled through artificial intelligence. Some people on the earth are descending in vibration, and as they digress their frequency they are being taken over by lower spirits and artificial intelligence machinery. This is called consubstantiality, where the person's low-frequency energy field is bonded through the protein chains of the DNA into these lower realms of dark forces of phantom and descending timelines. See November 2014 newsletter. We have a split occurring, and those of us that can hold the higher love frequency and God source connection are very protected and supported, while those on the opposing end are descending into experiencing misery and bondage. All meditations involving self-love, Loving kindness and releasing stress are very important now to keep your body relaxed and personal frequency as high as possible. Loving kindness meditation. Practicing loving kindness meditations activate and strengthen areas of the brain and nervous system that are responsible for empathy and increased emotional intelligence. The practice always begins with developing a loving acceptance of yourself. If resistance is experienced, then it indicates that feelings of unworthiness are present. The practice of loving kindness is designed to overcome any feelings of self-doubt or negativity. Once you have developed this loving kindness for yourself, then you are ready to systematically develop loving kindness towards others. Visualization. Bring to mind a mental picture that exudes loving kindness and brings warmth to your heart. Visualize yourself or the person the feeling is directed towards, returning the loving feeling to you, or just the shared feeling of being joyous. Through reflection, reflect on the highest and most positive qualities of a person you know and the acts of kindness you are aware of. Make an affirmation towards generating more of these positive qualities in yourself, more goodness and strong virtues. Reflect upon making positive statements of kindness directed to yourself, using your own words. Verbally, when we speak inspiring words or phrases which contain meaning of loving kindness, they are the most effective because the subconscious mind hears your voice. Focus on an internalized mantra or meaningful phrase such as loving kindness and God sovereign free. When the positive feelings arise, switch from the mental focus of the exercise onto the actual emotional feeling, as it is the emotional feeling that is the primary goal. If you lose the sensation of the loving kindness, the feeling and warmth opening in your heart, return to the exercise to bring back or strengthen the emotional feeling. When you have the loving kindness feeling in your heart, you can project that quality of frequency in all directions, north, south, east and west and 360 degrees, connecting that emotional feeling of loving kindness into loved ones, spiritual communities, towns and countries around the world. When we are emotionally developed with heart-based intelligence, we can access very high quality of higher sensory perception to guide us through these very difficult times. This guidance cannot happen through the cynical ability of the mind. Starseed males, please take note. You must connect emotionally and allow sensory feelings to be processed in your heart complex to shift out of the negative ego black depression and mind control thought forms. This higher consciousness access only happens through the developed heart and emotional complex, which is the key to accessing higher spiritual power and higher consciousness. The non-controllers do not have this access. So remember that is our greatest leverage as starseeds. We have access to the God source and creator functions through a heart, where they can only replicate them through their artificial intelligence software by cloning or capturing our image. Do not forget that our spiritual power is infinitely connected through a human heart consciousness, and connects omniversally.